Hello, everyone. We're going to get started with our week 2 deep dive lesson. Specifically, we're going to be customizing and creating a new character that we can change into for our game. There is no limit as to how many versions of your player you can have. You just have to be careful with keeping track of the costumes. So if I click on our player sprite, if you remember, we have to specifically tell it exactly which costume it has to turn into. So you need to also be able to do that for the next code. But aside from that, if you're able to do it, there really isn't any limit as to how many player versions you can have. So to begin with, after you finish clicking on your player sprite, you can go to your costume. And then we're just going to go ahead and duplicate it. At this point, I can go ahead and change the costume name, but since it has single digits, I'll leave it as is because then it'll be easier for me to actually know which one is the difference between my original one that has 2 digits and then my new one that has the single digits. So I'm just going to go down, clicking on every double digit version of my original character and then just duplicating it. Once I've done that, you guys have the option of completely starting from scratch. So in order to do this, you just have to click on your select tool, click on every single piece that you created for your original character and delete it. And then redraw something else on top of it. So changing the color, changing the look of it. Remember that you're also keeping the same rules as last time. And if you've already play tested your game, you kind of have an idea as to what can you kind of push outward when you're drawing stuff for your character, so that it doesn't disrupt you playing the game when you have this specific form. I'm just going to move this back so you can see the eyelashes a little bit better. So for this video, though, I'm not going to take too much time doing this. I'm just going to go ahead and just change the color of my character. So I'm just going to make them a dark blue instead. Once I have that, I'm just going to use my paint bucket tool and just change their color. There we go. And then I'm just going to go through and do the same thing with the other pieces. Okay, always remember as you're customizing your player that you're paying attention to the costume that you're doing it to, so you don't accidentally do it to the incorrect one. If that ever happens, you can always just undo, and you do have a certain amount of undos, but as long as you don't pass it, you should be fine. And for a little extra difference, I'm going to change the eye color as well as for my player. I'm going to give it a blue eye instead. Okay, so now that we've done this, the next step is going to be to code.